2 hours and 15 minutes, and it's not even about spice or sandworms or space? Oy vey. Jamie,
Yeah.
let's go watch Yentl. Welcome to another episode of Good Times, Great Movies. We're an 80s movie podcast, and every 2 weeks we watch a different movie from the 80s, and then we talk about it. My name's Doug McCambridge. I'm one of your two co-hosts, and with me, clearly on a soundstage that's supposed to be a forest, singing, is Jamie Lorella.
That's right. And my Hebrew name is Heimel.
Oh, okay. All right.
You can refer to me by that.
Did you look that up? Is that like when I took Spanish class and they were like, you're Paco because you're going by Paul?
That's right. That's right.
I guess that's what it translates to in Spanish. I would have thought like Paolo, but nope. Paco it was.
Paco it is. Mm-hmm. Little Paco here. So Paco and Heimel.
Well, we are in, let's say, holiday season.
Yes, we are.
We just went through our month of horror. Then we had... let's call it Zeke Perez season. Then we had Sly's Giving.
Always a favorite. Always a
favorite. And
favorite.
now we celebrate Hanukkah.
Hanukkah.
Okay. The traditional Hanukkah song, Hanukkah. Now, I don't know anything about Hanukkah. I mean, I know the menorah. I know
the 8 days or 8 nights.
Yeah, the oil.
The dreidel.
In the lamp, the dreidel.
Yeah.
This movie didn't teach me anything about Hanukkah, though. I was... waiting for it or it to at least be a word said in this movie?
No.
Wow, you're saying that? No. What are you talking about? A movie like Yentl? Why would you expect
talking
to learn
about
anything?
Hanukkah? No, we've got bigger things to cover, like
we have a lot to cover. Not male genitalia, but a lot needs to be covered in this movie.
It wasn't presented in a sexual way. The tushies and the
No, I did. No, I know it wasn't. But I just love how, like, at one point he just lays down and just like splays out his and she's walking away like, have some sun, my little friend. It's fine. Like
they're just hanging. They're just bros. And you know what? What better way to enjoy the lake and the sunshine? And they leave that little part of the lake where the moms are breastfeeding very openly. They see everyone is just. No, it's a great, in some ways, a wonderful time period, right? I mean, it's bad for the fact that, storybooks are for women and scholarly books are for men, but it's great.
A regular Beauty and the Beast situation.
Well, yeah, it's what is it, 1904 Eastern Europe, right? So
yes.
It's like villages, and what about when they're in that little bar tavern place and they just sit down and loaves of bread and cups of soup are there and you just...
Nobody's paying for anything.
No.
I didn't know what was happening for most of this movie. I was kind of all into it, though.
You were.
Like you said, not a great time to be alive. Medical practices and dentistry probably weren't where they are now. But what we see in this movie are just a bunch of people having a great time. They're just these guys having a great time all the time.
Because they're learning. They're learning.
They're always learning.
Yeah.
They're always learning, and they don't have to worry about women thinking for themselves. There's all sorts of great stuff happening around this time.
And it's aesthetically, I love it. The like I said, the villages, when we open in the scene and we're in the the village, what do you call that? Shopping area of the village? What do you call that? Isn't that called something?
Promenade. I don't know.
Okay. Where there's, ladies selling fish and a man with his,
some sort of market.
A market. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you.
Okay.
Market. Thank you.
So, first of all, before we get into this, we're talking about Yentl, just in case people didn't read what it says on your little podcast player when you hit play. But that's what we're talking about. Written, directed, starring Barbra Streisand.
Babs.
A triple threat, people.
Directorial debut, too. This was her first.
What a weird thing to be like, this is what I'm going to do.
Part
like,
of her heritage, standing up for women's rights, having played this character that is embodying this. Why weird? Not weird.
Well, I guess you're right. I guess I expected her to do something more My Fair Lady-ish.
Yeah,
let's
no,
say.
no.
More funny girl. I know she wasn't in My Fair Lady. I don't know why I use that as an example. More funny girl. You know what I mean? Like this is very much a passion project. This is very much like, this is what I'm going to do. Can I find people to give me money? Not sure. Did I use all my money to do this? Maybe. But this is like a labor of love, and it's so clear beginning to end that it's just, this is what I want to do. This is a story I want to tell.
Sure. Yeah.
It's got like, I don't want to say it's like, you know that movie we watched where the kid moved to the suburbs and he was obsessed with Bruce Lee and he did karate?
Oh.
No retreat, no surrender.
Yeah.
It's almost like that. Whoever made that was just like, this is what I want. Like, this is my passion. And it's just two ends of the spectrum. Because it's one that's made
I like No Retreat, No Surrender is compared to Yentl. That's great. Okay, good.
But they're like opposite ends of the spectrum.
Wise. Yeah.
Yes, because it's like, this is what I want, and I have no money. I clearly don't know what I'm doing. And this is someone who's like, I have a shit ton of money. I know how to make a film, and I'm still going to do whatever I do.
Yeah.
As strange, and I don't want to say misguided, because that sounds like I'm judging it, but as bizarre a premise as this is at times, and for as much as I'm not buying most of what's happening in this movie,
yeah,
it kind of 100% works.
Because Babs.
Yes.
And honestly, the performances by everyone are really good, I think. Mandy, how do you say his name? Mandy Patinkin?
Mandy Patinkin.
Patinkin, that's right.
Yes.
Patinkin.
And I feel bad because throughout my notes, I did just refer to him as Mandy.
I often do too, because his name
isn't great.
His name's not great. Well, neither is Hadas.
Yeah, but Hadas was easy for me because they just constantly were like, Hadas this, Hadas that. And I was like, who's this woman that hasn't spoken a word for an hour and a half?
Right.
Oh, Hadas, okay.
She does a great job too, though. You know, it's all...
I have to tell you, the lesbian undertones to this movie had me enthralled. I was so into this relationship between these two women who, I will argue at the end, should have stayed together.
Yeah, they made a great little couple, and she was really teaching Hadas things.
Holy shit,
and
they were laughing hysterically all the time. They had so much in common.
Don't you love their pillow fight on wedding night?
That was... A legitimate laugh from the movie Yentl was when pillows were hitting that little window above the door, and our parents were looking at this and just heard them laughing, and pillows are flying around. I love
And like
that.
you said, they wedded their daughter to this like prepubescent. What I'm thinking, they think that the Yentl is like, what, 15, 17 at the most?
At the most. At the most. Even at one point, Mandy Patinkin's like, you know what? My brother, he can't grow a beard either. And I was like, your brother probably sounds like a dude, though.
I know. At least he's got broad shoulders and something else that lets us know.
Nothing about Barbra Streisand looks like a man.
I know.
Like at one point when she takes her shirt off and she's been wrapping her boobs up, I'm like, why bother?
Yeah, you wrap them in a curve. You wrap them in the shape of a curve. Why? And then she does, early on when she first leaves her village, she does do a little bit of like practicing changing of her voice. She's like saying hello, I'm hello, but it's
I
not.
didn't notice that.
It's because it doesn't really. She doesn't even do it enough to like change. She's just saying like hello. And I think maybe singing a little, but I wrote down in my notes that's her kind of preparing for, I'm about to meet people, and
right.
I have to sell it that I'm,
And I understand the difficulty with having to put on a phony voice for the entirety of the movie.
I wonder how goofy that could have came off. Yeah.
Like, hi, everybody. Like, that's very difficult. But why not do the opposite? Why not put on a higher pitched voice when you're a woman, and then when you talk like Barbra Streisand, you're like, oh, she's disguising her voice.
Well, because eventually, I guess it's
who's
dumber? Who's dumber, the women or the men? The men that all fall for it, because even the dad is like.
Okay, so first of all, we meet two women in this entire movie, so I don't know.
And one of them is highly suspicious. Hadas's mom gives Yentl the look, like, "Oh, look at your skin, look at you. I don't know."
Really? I thought that look was like, you and my daughter, get it on.
Well,
now.
Later she thinks about that later, because I guess there's the how does the what is the money that they get for wedding off their daughter? Is that something that the father gives to the...
I'm going to call it a dowry. I don't know if they call it a dowry in here, or if that's like an
Well, so does
Indian
their family
term.
Make money?
Guys, get ready for me to be very insensitive during this podcast, I guess. Yes, but it is like a dowry, and I think that is what is given to the husband's family, or the husband...
I see.
For marrying this woman, because you got to unload those ladies. Whatever you got to do, you got to unload them. However many goats or whatever you got to put up, you got to get that daughter out of your house.
Well, especially if she's as pretty as Hadas. Like, get her
That's
making
what I don't
babies.
Get.
Right?
I was just like, listen. First of all I've seen is Barbra Streisand and Hadas, so I'm not sure what's going on. But both she and Mandy Patinkin are constantly like, she's so hot. She's the hottest one we've ever seen. I'm like, why are men beating down the door to this woman's house? Her parents have loads of money.
Yeah.
Like, is it really this difficult to marry this woman off?
It's a small village, maybe. A lot of restrictions.
I don't know. It looked like a bustling metropolis compared to everything else.
Well, no, because they horse carriage their way to the city, which is much more populated than their quaint little village. I want to live in one of those villages. I think that's why else I love this movie so much, is because those little villages. I mean, again,
where everybody knows everybody, and
there's things about that time period that are, archaic and awful, but then there's certain things that are quite lovely.
Quaint is what you're
lovely.
looking for.
Yes.
Because I agree. There is something. It's one of those like simpler times. Yes. Remember when we didn't have to worry about anything but studying for Judaism school or whatever these guys are doing?
Oh,
and what are they doing? Like, I may sound super ignorant, but what are they they're studying, and then they have to be accepted to...
well, they're not all becoming rabbis, right? But I think part of it is
a lot of rabbis.
Yeah, that's not all their goal. They're learning from the rabbis, and they're quoting the rabbis. And again, we can unite our ignorance together, because I don't know that much more than you do. Like, are they reading the Talmud? What is it that they're reading again? But it's the Bible.
It's the Talmud. Or I know it ends with a D, but I don't know how you pronounce it. But
Talmud.
Yes, Talmud.
The Talmud.
Yes. Nothing. The halibut? That's a fish.
That they're trading in the promenade or the marketplace. That they do earlier.
Yes.
But no, that's like Mandy Patinkin's character explains. That's what the men do. They're there to learn, and they learn, like Yentl's dad in the beginning is teaching that other dumbass kid. That
guy's an idiot,
and he can't remember for nothing.
Moron.
Yeah. I'm like, was there stoners in this time period? Because this kid reminds me of one. I don't know. I'm suspicious.
Oh, I got my Talmud practice in 20 minutes. I totally forgot. I'm so baked. I like how her father falls asleep while she closes the window.
He has an undisclosed illness that makes him cough and very sleepy.
I just found that very amusing when he was totally asleep, and she's like, don't worry, we'll just it's tomorrow.
Yeah,
we'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah. She does. I mean, this movie isn't meant to be funny, but because it's Babs and because she's got this great comic timing, there's times when she is quite funny.
I am 100% going to disagree with you that this movie is not meant to be funny.
Oh.
I know that the general premise is not meant to be funny, but there were so many times during this movie where I'm like, this is a joke. Like, this is played for laughs, and it's killing it. I'm serious, and I'm not even joking. Like, I'm not joking. I know it's meant to be serious, but I know there's so much comedy infused in this, and Again, maybe it's just Dune. I
'cause you
love this
read
movie.
that.
I had so much fun watching this stupid movie.
What a
I couldn't even believe it.
Sweet. I am so proud right now. I swear. I'm like the Grinch. My heart just grew like 10
What-
times. I didn't know. Even because it's deep, right? 2 hours and 15 minutes.
2
It's like a journey. It's a
When
big
I
movie.
saw that, I was like, I am not ready for this. And in the beginning, I was not ready for this. The moment she's a boy, I'm
You're
ready.
on board.
And I am into it. And I want to meet every character and know what they're thinking at all times.
So was it more her transformation? Like what is that? Although he does a better job.
The transformation is stupid because it's just cutting hair, and then suddenly she's in these goofy-looking glasses.
Then she's got
just like Harry Potter, and just. I think it started when the people pretended to give her a lift and just robbed her, basically.
Yeah.
And then she walked onto a soundstage and sang a song where I was like, "This is great. Keep doing this."
And yeah, she just when you don't want to know what she's feeling or thinking, she'll bust in a song and tell you.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Yeah. All right, we should probably start because we're like 25 minutes into this.
Well,
And we haven't even really started on the movie.
We were like bubbling over with our feelings about it. And I'm so glad you kept saying, I don't want to give away too much. I don't want to give away too much. But I had to know. I had a sense that you didn't hate it because you have a look when you hate movies when you get on here. And I'm watching it thinking this could go badly for DP. I don't know.
I'm even trying to think back. There weren't any points where I was like, all right, let's just move it along. I think I was kind of into everything that was happening.
This is the best news ever. This is amazing. I'm grinning from ear to ear. Oh, all right. Yentl, it is 1980, 82?
82.
82.
83.
Early.
Sorry, 83.
Oh.
First of all, doing a great job.
We're just taking stabs at what we're doing. Was it Yentl or was it the Yeshiva boy? Was this funny girl that we watched? I'm not sure.
I got 10 guesses here. I'm going to start at 80 and just go up.
So 83, Babs' directorial debut, Yentl, the Yeshiva boy, based off of a story. And it's a time when the world of study belonged to only men.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a different time. It's 1904. I think we said that earlier. Eastern Europe. And
You really narrowed that down. Eastern Europe. Like, okay, Transylvania? Great. I'm there.
Well, it's in these villages, in these little European villages with these marketplace promenades, and we meet our Yentl, our Barbra. She's not like your typical woman, you could tell already in the village, right? She's not into
curious.
gossip. Yes.
Even the one woman's like, when are you going to get married? Blah, blah, blah. That's all anybody seems to care about. And she's like, I'm good. I'm only 35.
Yeah.
Everything will be fine.
It's all right.
Don't worry about it.
And she's kind of snickering at the ladies for they're all learning about how to cook fish properly and this is not her jam. There's a bookseller, like a mobile librarian of sorts, or mobile Barnes and Nobles, I guess you could call them. Maybe the original. Maybe this is
Barnes and Mobiles, would you say?
Hey!
Okay.
Boy, are you on
I think
today.
it comes into play later. That's not how you cook fish, right? You take a whole fish and just throw it in a pan, scales and all. When she has that fish in that pan and it's hanging off of both sides, that's the first joke where I was like, this is a joke and it's great.
No, it's
and I
clear.
love it.
It's clear she's a terrible cook. I like even later when Hadas is cooking and she's like, wow, she didn't burn anything and everything's like, you baked apples too.
Are you sure she didn't say that in song?
Okay.
Hadas doesn't burn her food like I do. She's so hot, no wonder he's into her. Every time.
You are coming out swinging.
The songs in this aren't songs. She's just
it's an
singing
inner
what she's
monologue. It's an
thinking.
inner monologue.
It's so great. And sometimes, and it starts with when she puts her dad to bed. Sometimes she's singing, and other times the song continues, but she's not singing on
No,
screen.
but she's still using her facial expression.
My dad is the best, and she just nods at the camera. Mhm.
Well, speaking of her dad, she's very, very close to her dad. There's no mom to speak of in Yentl's home. And her dad, who is I don't know that he's a rabbi. I don't know but he is a teacher, which maybe makes him the rabbi. So he's teaching another like younger boy the
Other
studies
idiots in this town.
Yeah, the local stoner, the teachings of the Talmud, right, which is what they all have to learn. But secretly, he also teaches Yentl, and you get the feeling this has been their whole lives together. Mom must have died when she was really young. Dad raised her, and Yentl has always been a curious child, and Dad kind of fed into that. And
Yep. Again, you as the audience member are forced to put these pieces together because she never talks about her mom. Like, it's never mentioned what happened.
No, not even like, oi, Bubby, your mommy would have loved this.
Oi, she ran out on me. It was a whole thing.
It was a younger man. What am I to do? He had nice legs. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, she is being taught the Talmud when it is not a time that women are to learn it. So the curtains are closed. They do this in hiding. But she does give it away. Then when he is schooling the stoner kid, she's answering all of them, the questions that he can't think of. And he's like, does Yentl know the Talmud? Like, that's witchcraft. Like, she's a demon if she does, right?
Yeah, this kid is stoned, and he's like a big snitch. It's just like...
Because then he tells the whole town. A couple scenes later, we're in we're at church or something, synagogue, and all the ladies are whispering like, oh yeah, did you hear she studies the Talmud? David told his mother, and now everyone knows.
I like later when you just hear a voiceover, that lady being like, I'm going to work you like a fucking dog. You're not even going to be able to study. I'm like, whoa, what? This is your new guardian?
Yeah, you hear, well, she could keep the house if she wants. Meanwhile, they're clearing the house out of all the books and everything.
You want this house? Great, we took all your shit. Good luck. It's your dad's stuff. We own it.
And it's only been 8 days. 7, I think. It's like 7 days. And all these ladies from the village are just like taking all the things out of her house. Her dad passes. It doesn't take long into the movie. We see they have a nice relationship. We see he's got part like he keeps falling asleep, and he's got a bad cough. Did
you say part narcolepsy? Like it's only a percentage of this disease?
Well, there's
20% narcolepsy, 80% cancer. It's not good for this guy.
It's not looking good. And remember, this is the early 1900s, Eastern Europe. There's not a doctor in sight. Maybe they're going to say some blessings over him. I don't know. But he's not doing well. He wants her. He does say before he passes that he wants her to meet a man and, settle down and that kind of thing. And that's just not her goal. She really likes the learning of the Talmud, and she likes... questioning all the things.
Sure.
Where is it written? Like, that's the opening song, I think. Where is it written?
Is this when she pulls up like that little robe in front of her?
Oh,
and does,
yeah.
Like, a little silhouette dance or something?
Where she's questioning everything. And again, it's the inner monologue to Yentl where we get the introduction that she is a woman that wants to know why, that doesn't think that, she has limitations that the women of her age do.
I will say one of the least weird songs in this movie, because most songs are inner monologues throughout the rest of it. She's actually singing here, and when she's in the forest in a couple scenes, she's singing. But I think that's it.
Yeah, well, and the last one, that when she's on the boat and she's finally going, that's like...
I was still waiting for a Statue of Liberty, and then in my mind I'm like, 1904, did we even have this? I didn't know. Like, I was waiting for a arrival in America.
We just know she's going. We don't need to know where.
Right. I'm not saying where else do Eastern Europeans go at this time, but I'm assuming that's where she's going.
Yeah. I'm going to assume that too. But really, we don't need to know. We just need to know that onward and upward. Yep. Those wings are she's soaring. She's soaring.
Yeah. I assume she goes to America and starts her own matchmaking business. I think that's a great thing that she should probably look into doing.
And then that leads into a whole new, yeah.
Yentl 2, Electric Boogaloo, maybe? So her father does die, and at his funeral, I like how at his funeral, the priest, I did call him a priest. The rabbi's like, well, who's going to read this? He doesn't have any male heirs. And she's like, give me that idiot. Yeah. I'll read it. And as the camera pans back, she's reading it, and everybody's just throwing up their hands like, I can't believe this.
Yeah.
This doesn't seem right at all.
Because she shouldn't be. She shouldn't even be able to, I guess. And she literally is like, oh, just give me the fucking book and I'll just do it. It's for my father, for crying out loud. I can do this. And it's clear, like you said, because then just not even, I don't think 24 hours after the funeral, these townswomen are clearing out her house.
Yeah.
I don't know that she's not welcome in the town, but it's not like she was ever super cozy there anyway.
She's such a nerd, and she wants to learn things, and she doesn't play by the rules. And I don't think this is important at all to mention, but I thought it was funny how she apparently had a brother that died. When they're outside and she's talking to her dad's like, that tree, I planted it when your brother died. I was like, that's a huge tree. How long has this guy been dead? So she has no mother. She had a mother and a brother, and they died, and now her father died.
Tough times.
Yeah, no, definitely.
People died of the flu, of consumption, and of suicide.
Yep.
They died of that too.
Yep.
I
want to know the serious digging that this family did on this guy to find out this brother committed suicide.
Because he was pulling off pneumonia and then consumption.
Oh, because maybe that's his problem. You said pneumonia last time, you idiot.
Yeah, exactly. You got to stick to one or the other, or people will be curious.
You got to file that away. Also, lying? I'm not sure that God's okay with that.
Yeah,
maybe
I'm not
you
sure.
shouldn't be a rabbi. So she makes the big transformation, and it's not even like a Pretty Woman moment or
what do you want her to do? Try on all those black coats?
I kind of do want that.
Do a slow-mo on the wrap around and flatten her breasts? What were you expecting?
I'm not talking about a crazy hat montage, but maybe.
Well, then that would make that movie like 2.5, 3 hours. So
whoa,
there's no time for it.
You have a 45-minute hat montage in your movie?
Well, because if this happens here, there's other places needed for the montage too.
We need some funky 80s music and okay, got it.
Just to add a little, tempo to the scenes here. But no, the montage is basically she cuts her hair in the change rather is she cuts her hair in a cracked mirror. And next we know she's walking out of the village.
I got to tell you, I love the wicker suitcases. Like, there's something weird about that where it's like, this seems like it's the wrong way to make a suitcase. Like, I would figure leather or something would be the first thing they start with, but no, it's just wicker.
Well, that's when they were like, how far can we really go? We really shouldn't be traveling too far, but because it's not sturdy.
How far can I walk before this just falls apart into little pieces of twigs?
Well, I guess we'll just end our journey here because the suitcase is broken.
Well, this is where we live now. This is where our new village is. Let's just start to build a house.
You did say that she as she's trying to get out of town, she tries to get a ride from. She pays even some coinage, whatever their coinage is, to get onto this wagon, and the wagon just kind of scoots away from her. First lesson for Yentl in listen, the world can be a dirty place, and you have to be prepared because you've just lived in this tiny village.
But it's so bizarre because there doesn't seem to be a connection or between the driver who takes her money and then she walks around to the back where there's just these punks there that are like, you think you're getting in here? No way. And then just drive away.
He just takes off. Yeah.
I was like, who are you? Are you also just hitchhiking a ride? Is this something you have worked out with the driver? Is this a grift, or are you just laughing at this dummy?
Right. And didn't she throw her suitcase in there before she jumped on?
No, she didn't. Listen, I was so into the suitcase.
Oh, you were keeping eyes on it. Okay.
Right.
Well, then, like you said, she sort of happenstances upon this other little it's not. It's a waterway, but it looks more like a pond where they have the boat, and she starts running, and she's like, "Wait!"
Yep.
She finds her way out of the little corner of the world that she's in. This is
right. Yeah, she goes across a tiny stream.
Yep.
Kind of, and now she's into a whole other world, and she meets. What's his character's name? I don't think I wrote it down at all.
She changes her name to Ansel, and he's Avigdor.
Avatar? Yeah, Avatar. Yep, Avatar.
We missed. You can't just go over one of the best songs in this.
Okay, sorry. Listen, she was already on the boat. I don't know where we're going
when
here.
She's in the forest and she sings, "Papa, can you hear me?" What a beautiful that. Can I tell you about Papa? Can you hear me? So,
yes, please do.
so I actually listened to the soundtrack for Yentl before I ever watched Yentl. So I knew the songs before I knew the movie, and I loved the songs. And I
Where did
used
this soundtrack come from? Your parents just had it laying around?
well, my mom had this. It was a double cassette. I think it was a cassette. It might have been a CD. No, it must have been a cassette of this Barbra Streisand concert that she did live in like New York City or somewhere, and she did like a Yentl like montage in this. It was like a 3-hour long concert that she had on cassette, and there was this whole Yentl part of it. So I knew most of the songs from Yentl before I even watched Yentl, and I want to say it was maybe 10th grade, probably 10th grade. I auditioned for the school musical with Papa Can You Hear Me?
What?
And listen, I'm a terrible singer. I'll just say it, right? I'm not a good singer. I arrived late to the
First of all, I just want to say something real quick. People, if you don't believe that Jamie is a terrible singer, I suggest you go to our Patreon and give us $5 to hear all the stuff I cut out of these episodes, because most of it's Jamie singing.
And it's not good. I know that. I love to do it because I feel the passion in it, but it doesn't translate. But anyway, I auditioned.
Passion's half of it.
That's exactly right. And Barbara will teach you that. I auditioned with the Papa Can You Hear Me? And only got...
You got the starring role. The rest is history.
That's revisionist history, and I'll take it. But really, I only got 2 lines in.
What was the show that you...
I think it was The Pajama Game.
Don't know what that is.
It's like a musical. They cut me off like 2 lines in. They were like, "You're good. What? We're good." I'm like, "But I know the whole song." And they were like, "It's fine." And I ended up being... I had a couple of roles.
We believe you.
We don't need to. And I thought I would win points because the music teacher was Jewish, so I thought by singing the song from Yentl, she would...
You also cut your hair. You put on these little glasses.
You
wrapped your upper body. You were like, "I'm winning points." All day in school, people were like, "Why are you dressed like that?"
I got the audition for the pajama game later. I got to work it. Anyway, this is a great song, and it's a beautiful song. She's singing to her dad, who's passed. I mean, my dad recently passed, and we don't get emotional on this show, and I'm not going to. But this is a very sweet, endearing, lovely song. And you can't just overlook it. But now we can. We can go on to
I agree. It's unlike so many other songs because she's not like, "Hadas spilled a bunch of shit and he doesn't care about it. That's what makes him love her. He can never love me unless I shake a lot."
An audience, if you're wondering who the better singer is of the two of us.
First of all, that has yet to be proven. I never tried out for a play, so who knows what would have happened.
Fair enough.
Yep.
All right, but now she does. She happens upon this other town where she meets Mandy Patinkin. Avigdor. What did we say his name was? Adigar.
Well, it's Mandy Patinkin, and his name is Avatar. Yes. Adgabar. I don't know. Anyway, it's very difficult to say. I will just call him Mandy in this movie because his name's not great and it's not fun like Yentl. Also, she comes up with her name. What's her name?
Her name is Ansel.
She comes up with this name like an idiot. She said days to think of a fake name, and he asked
you had
her,
all
and she's
that
like,
time in the journey,
and she looks at the other guy, is like, "Yeah, that's my name." Like, right out of the gate, you're stumbling. Like,
well, she had all that time to work on, her vocal changes, so she couldn't think about it.
Right, yes. So she meets him. It's a whole thing. It's kind of funny. Like, we just watched Over the Top. I'm so surprised there was arm wrestling in this Yentl movie.
Yeah.
Because some dude's hassling her, and it's like, I guess here's a little boy that I can beat in arm wrestling.
Yeah, he's a real jerk.
But even Mandy Patinkin's like, give her back her money. Sorry, give him back his money.
Yeah, you got it's like working with transgender. You got to change from he to she.
I know.
Yeah.
So they meet. He's kind of into her, meaning that he sees this little boy that he can take under his wing and teach him some
she's
stuff.
really smart. She watches him play chess and kind of butts in with some moves she thinks should be made. She she's quoting things that he would quote from the Talmud. So he's sparked by her intelligence, and we find out later when they're taking this ride together, he takes a liking to her, and then we find out that he recently lost his younger brother.
Yes.
And so we realize, oh, that would be another reason.
There it is. Yeah. I do like how she got on this boat. She followed these guys in this wagon. She's on this wagon with them. They're sitting in there. They're eating. They're drinking. They're having fun. And at some point, she's almost like, what's happening here?
Yeah. Where are you even going? Yeah.
What's going on? And he's like, I don't know. We're all studying to be rabbis or whatever. And at one point, everyone clears out of this place. He comes back in. She's sitting alone in this giant room.
Yeah.
Seemingly has not noticed that everyone left. He calls her Ansel. She does not respond to this name.
No, she sits there for a minute and she's like, why does that sound so familiar? Oh, yeah, I just named myself that.
That's that fake name I made up 2 minutes ago. Oh, this is going to be more difficult than I thought.
When she walks into this arm wrestling place, it's like a tavern or a bar or a big something like that. But then it turns out, like, what is it, a cafeteria? Because then something happens where they all clear out. And she's still just like, well, I get the bread on the soup then. And there's
she looks around like nobody's here. This is great.
This is great. I get to just sit with my thoughts and be all excited that I get to touch books now. But yeah, he calls her, and again, she just fell into the right group here because they're on their way to the city to go learn. And I guess at the time I was like, well, doesn't she have to show any like admissions paperwork or identification? And no, they take your word for you. You don't even need a last name. This is just Ansel.
She's on the wagon. There's this other nerd who wears glasses. Don't know what this guy's name is.
Oh, yeah.
He's around
I'm glad we don't have to see him naked later when we're all swimming.
Yeah, he's the only one not naked. I thought that was a little bizarre. But he's even like, hey, where are you from? And she says the name of her town. And he goes, I know that town.
Yeah.
I know people there. And she goes, well, I don't live there anymore.
We moved from
I
there.
live in, and she just says to him, do you know anyone in this town? And he goes, no. And she's like, that's where I live.
That's it. It's perfect.
It's the least suspicious stuff that this stranger has said to these people in the past 5 hours, and they are not suspicious at all.
Yep.
They go, Mandy's like, hey, listen, I know this person. She's got rooms. That's where we're going to stay because it's getting dark. And they go in, and he's like, listen, I have this friend. He's totally not a woman. This lady knows she's a woman, right?
Yeah.
Like, this lady side-eyes her every chance encounter they have. So,
because she does. She's got the high cheekbones and the milky white skin and the narrow shoulders. And
I can't even explain.
She's the prettiest little Jew boy you ever did see.
It's just Barbra Streisand. Like, she doesn't even draw a mustache on herself or anything.
No, that's something that they talk about too. They tease her about the fact, or him,
facial
about
hair.
the fact that he can't grow the facial hair. But like you said, Mandy says, well, my brother couldn't either.
Oh, maybe that's why he ended it.
Because of his facial hair.
I just decided to let that hang out there.
I know you did. You let it linger.
Right. So she's like, listen, I got one room. You two can share a bed. And Mandy Patinkin is so excited to share a bed with this little boy. He's so happy about this.
He's like, we can spoon like I did with my little brother.
It's going to be great. Why are you laying so close to the edge? Come in for this. Come on.
He's not just close to the edge. Yentl is like, has one hand on the edge and there's a space between the bed. She's not even really on the bed. And she's fumbling like he wants to get to sleep. They've had a long journey and she's still reading. She's like, I got to keep studying. I have my test with the...
It reminds me of
the rabbi tomorrow.
Beetlejuice, when Gina Davis is levitating when she's sleeping next to the bed. Like, that's how far off of the bed she is. It's really funny.
Yeah.
But he's so they're studying for this test. They're going to be quizzed or interviewed by a rabbi to then move on to professional studies or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they're sharing this room, and she's trying to stay up to not go in this bed and everything. And he's like, turn off the light and get in bed with me here. Come on, it's fun. Yeah. And she finds out that he is engaged to some woman named Hadas. Mm-hmm. After they're talking about this for just a moment they're talking about this, how he's like, oh, why did you have to mention this woman?
I know.
I will never be able to sleep.
Because he's having his naughty thoughts, and he says that, yeah.
Exactly.
Don't you?
So they decide to spoon or whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm surprised that she's not like, listen, just so you know, I have a condition where I kind of have man boobs. So if you like feel anything like on your back or whatever, it's not a big deal. I'm totally a dude.
No, I think she stays strapped. Like everything is, she's very cautious about what she takes
Yes.
off. And he's like in his boxers. Again, later we see he's just totally naked. But he doesn't care what he sleeps in. And she's very conservative in her night gear. Let's just say that.
It is funny. I do like how right before they go to bed, he's like, so did you ever have sinful thoughts?
Yeah.
Like, okay, where's this movie going? And again, like I said, I was so into what I was watching at this point in the movie. I could not wait to see where this was
You're
going.
like, who's this Hadas? I can't wait to see. Who's he engaged to?
Yes. When I meet her, even better, because I was like, that's crazy. They didn't give that actress any lines. And I went, she's in this movie for most of it now.
Yeah, yeah. And she just smiles a lot. And she's got great hair.
Yep, that part is very severe. Like,
Yeah.
that is a severe part in the middle of that woman's head.
She does do well with the rabbi. She has a lot of questions for him, as Yentl is known for her inquisitive mind. And surprisingly...
Can I tell you very quickly? I watch everything with subtitles just because I don't want to miss stuff. And sometimes I'm watching things at low volume because it's late at night. I don't want to wake
Sure.
people up.
Yeah.
Every time they said Mazel Tov, which is a lot in this scene because everybody's
Yeah. Oh,
like
yeah, because they're so
passing
excited.
this
Yeah.
test. Every time they said Mazel Tov, the subtitle was, quote, congratulating in Hebrew. I could not believe it. Well, you can't just write Mazel Tov. You're afraid people won't understand what that means.
That's awesome.
It was really great.
Even better if they said it like that. Congratulations in Hebrew. Congratulations in Hebrew. Well, they're Mazel Toving because a lot of them have passed, and Yentl is one of them. We get another song here. It's another lovely song where she talks about the moments. Like, this is one of those moments.
Is this the hat stealing montage? Is that what's happening
Yes.
with this? Okay,
Yes.
all right.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You have to put things in terms of hat montages, or I don't know what's
That's what
happening.
resonated with you. I understand. Later, there's the fuzzy hat. Yeah, this is because this is a wonderful feeling for her to have been like accepted into the school, and really now she can devote her life to the learning that she's loved so much in secret. And it's got to feel wonderful, even though she's not, doesn't identify as a male, but she kind of does. She's like accepted as part of this like union of these. Yeah. So it's and again, the song she sings reflects that. It's all about never forgetting this moment that she's feeling, and it's something that she'll remember forever, all the things, the smells.
And it's important to mention that Mandy Patinkin is her tutor. He's like,
Yes. He's
like,
assigned
"Listen,
to her, yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
I'm assigned. He's not assigned to her. He signs
He
up
just
for
takes it
this.
up. Yeah,
Yep.
he just takes it on.
It's
yeah.
like, you want a tutor? You want a tutor that's awesome? Me. Maybe we'll sleep
We're-
together. Not sure. We'll figure this out. There's plenty of porn out there that starts with a student-tutor relationship that goes
It'll work
places.
well for us. It'll work well for us.
Oh, also in this montage, I love
Oh,
the
this is
lady
when
at
they
the-
eat pastries.
I love the
Is
lady
that
at the
what
bakery. This woman's hilarious. She like winks at Mandy Patinkin and like licks her fingers and then gives him this. I'm like, that's disgusting.
And even he's like creepy.
Yeah, he even gives her a look like that is unsanitary. Lady.
Yeah, I'm not into it. No, but that's part of this montage. Is now she's not only can learn lots of things, but she can go to the bakery at free will and eat all the sweets that she wants to, I guess.
They don't make it clear with this montage what she wasn't able to do as a woman. And when they all steal her hat, it's apparently the most hilarious thing ever.
It's wonderful. Oh.
So they finally meet Hadas and her family, her mother and her father.
He's got standing dinners every Tuesday night there.
Yes.
So he goes every Tuesday night, and this, I guess we got there over the weekend. We're now there. It's Tuesday, and Yentl gets to go to the dinner too.
They drink out of giant gravy boats, and are they eating enormous chicken nuggets? They look like these giant chicken nuggets on this plate.
I want to say those were the matzo balls, but I don't know if that's true.
Oh,
They do
I
look like
don't know.
giant little fried nuggets.
The whole song, I wrote down lines from this song. Should she
Oh.
roast the chicken or maybe a pot roast? This is a song in this movie. I could not believe it. No wonder he loves her. If I was a man, I would too. What? What are you
No
doing?
wonder he loves her. She's perfect in every way.
Yep.
Because she is. The men
Except
sit.
the fact that she's spilling stuff constantly.
Well, she's a little sloppy because she's nervous, and you could see he's watching her and
Yep.
she's watching him.
Oh, these two are making such eyesies at each other. It's great. And all we do is watch Barbra Streisand sitting there so awkwardly being like, I'm a boy and I have to convince everybody here that I am. I can't fuck this up.
But she acknowledges too, like, well, I'm a boy and this is a really pretty woman. Like, I don't know as a
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, she does give him creepy eyes in the mirror. She's like staring at her and doing her inner monologue song, like, no wonder she loves him. And staring at Hadas in the mirror, and Hadas looks up like, all right.
I still can't believe she's taking these dinners with this family after this relationship.
Oh, yeah, that kind of blows me away. He's like,
believe that.
She still goes, they have this breakup, this horrible, it happens. And yeah, Yentl still goes to have dinner with the family and reports back to him like, it was a little awkward, but what are you going to do? You know, they're a weird family. She is taken aback because, again, she's comes from this smaller, her family, her dad and her weren't necessarily wealthy. And Hadas's parents clearly are. They have fine china and like fancy drapes and a maid. And Yentl does keep complimenting, like, wow, I really like your... And it's not very...
Later on when she's looking for the Made in China stamp on the bottom of the plate, I found that hilarious.
She makes a good impression on the family because of how... I will say because of her female instincts, because she's observant and complimentary, and the guys just want to kind of talk amongst themselves. The women don't even sit down to dinner.
It's very much... And I always used to... I don't know if I would enjoy it if it actually happened... if I, let's say, traveled back in time. But there's something about, like, watching Downton Abbey and stuff where it's like, after dinner, it's like, the men are going to go in this room for cigars and brandy. And the women will go here, and I don't know,
they'll go to the parlor for tea.
There's something about that where I was like, boy, that would be really fun. But I'd probably get in there, and I'd be like, I don't want to talk to these guys.
Yeah, I'd rather be sewing in the parlor.
Right,
it's better. Yeah.
Can I take my brandy and cigar into the parlor and find out how to crochet something?
Possible? Because they really looked cool if that's what the plates were on. I liked it. They're talking about their time at Hadas's house, and Mandy is like, I love her, she's beautiful. And Yentl's like, well, what are her thoughts? Do you love her? And he's like, I don't need her to think, I just need her to kind of be a woman.
It's very much like this guy that we've come to know and come to like. This is when we find out, oh, he is just like all the other guys to a certain degree, because he's like, I never wonder what she's thinking. Who gives a shit? Like, she's a woman. It doesn't matter.
Right. I don't need her to think. Yeah.
And these two then, they wrestle on the ground a little bit.
Oh, yeah. This is the rib side debate where they're having some sort of debate about a rib or a side, and they get to poking and wrestling. And
yeah. When he says late in this movie, no wonder I always wanted to touch you. I was like,
yes.
He was so worried that he might be gay. You know that in this movie. He was terrified for long stretches that he might be gay.
She calls him out on it. She says, why? Because they do all this wrestling. And she's like, realizing, she's like, why do you want to touch me so much? And he's like, as he's touching her, he's like, I don't want to touch her. What do you mean?
I don't want to put my hands on your shoulders and give you back rubs and stuff. I don't know what you're talking about, you weird little boy. Let's wrestle.
Did they already go to the...
Nope, they're going to the swimming hole right now.
Okay.
They go to the lake.
But wait, before the swimming hole, she sings again about the feelings she's starting to have for him. And this is when she touches herself in the mirror.
Oh, her masturbation song?
Yeah.
Yes. Because this is 100% a masturbation song, right? Like, she is taking off her clothes, taking off her wrap, reaching down her pants, and singing this song.
About feelings, yeah. This is because she's realizing that even though this plan was a go, I'll just disguise myself as a boy and learn.
Yeah.
She forgot that she still is a woman.
Oh,
and she
that's
might be
sorry.
attracted.
This is after the swimming hole, because no wonder she's masturbating. She just saw all those guys naked.
No, she masturbates before that. She's getting hot for.
Wow,
Then she
okay.
gets to see him again naked, and I think it really just. That's when she's like, oh, I can't.
She's really into studying, and they're like walking and talking, studying. And I love when Mandy Patinkin's like, look, there's a couple of dudes pissing in a lake. I'm going to go jump in. Did you notice those guys literally urinating as he walked in?
Yeah.
Right next.
Yeah, they're taking it in. They're taking it in.
It's really funny because this is at a movie where she's supposed to play a boy or a man or whatever, and she's not convincing anyone who's watching this. There's not enough of this, like, oh no, are they going to find out? Like, I thought that was kind of fun. Most of it's just like her interacting with people, but this is the one part where
it gets dicey.
I was ready for him to pick her up and throw her into this.
And then she gets wet, and you just see wet, but yeah. No, she because he gets pretty close. Like she's sitting and trying to study, and he gets totally naked and just goes into this piss pond, and
piss pond.
And even the other that we see that one dorky guy from earlier, and he's like, "Come swim." She's like, "I can't. I don't know how to swim. I'm not a swimmer." He's like, "Me neither. I just wade in the water."
You're giving her more credit than she deserves for this. It's almost like making up her fake name because she's like, "No, I don't. I don't." And this nerd guy's like, "You can't swim, right?" She's like, "Yeah, that's it. I can't swim." And he's in like thermal pajamas. He's like
fully dressed. Yeah, that was another thing. I'm like, well, if you just wade in the water, maybe. But I think she's more freaked out because Mandy is in the buff, and that's throwing her off more than the idea that she might have to be in the buff.
Because he practically sits on her with his naked body. He's like, come on in. It's totally cool. We're just a bunch of dudes hanging out with no clothes on, pissing all over the place. It's fun.
Come on, bring yours to the table. And he pulls her, and you think, but she freaks out enough where he finally is like, hey, I don't want you to be scared. It's fine.
Right.
We'll swim next time. We'll swim naked next time. And
yes. Give me a rain check on that naked swim.
Yeah.
And she's basically like, I got to get out of here. I got to take care of some business back in the room.
Yeah,
and
I have more reading to do.
Yep.
He gets back in the village. He gets a little note saying that the father, his future father-in-law, wants to see him, right? And he is stoked because he thinks it's about the wedding night.
Oh my God!
All this sexual tension has been building these last 3 scenes between her masturbating and him naked, and now he's stoked for the wedding night. He's like skipping through the streets and like doing the Gene Kelly where he clicks his heels in the
wedding
air.
night at the top of his lungs in this small town. Like, he is over the moon.
He just might as well be like screaming like humpin' Hadas, humpin' Hadas. And then he doesn't come back, so Yentl goes to look for him back in his sleeping quarters, and he's gone.
Yep.
Where could he be?
Where could he be? Possibly at Hadas's house? No, she walks in on Hadas and her mom crying.
Yeah, sad times at Hadas. What has happened? What is going on?
I do like how she asks what's going on, and Hadas's mom is like, oh, everything's fine. Don't worry. You know what? Do you want something to eat? I'll just get you some food. It's not a big deal. We have servants, possibly. You want my daughter to serve you? It's okay. She's not sad.
She goes off, and she finally does find Mandy, who is upset because the wedding's been called off. Because Hadas's family found out the truth about his brother.
Yes, exactly.
It wasn't consumption. It wasn't pneumonia. His brother committed suicide, which kind of marks his family and his lineage. So he would have suicidal children, I guess.
I guarantee you that's what they thought was going to happen. And I love how, like, Babs at this point kind of sees an opening, and she's like, hey... You don't need her. Possibly what you want is right in front of you and doesn't want to get naked. And but he's like, listen, she's exactly what I wanted. A girl who hasn't had a line of dialogue in this movie yet.
A girl who keeps quiet and makes yummy almond cakes. It's all I want.
Right. All I want is almond cakes. I don't even know what they are. They're so good.
Yeah, he gets kind of upset with her. There's a couple of times where Mandy gets a little temper, and this is one of them where he's like, I just lost the love of my
I
life.
cannot wait to get to his plan. I can't believe that if I was not in on this movie, when he laid out his plan of what she should do, I was like, this is
It's
fucking
like a Three's
great.
Company. Like, what's happening?
I was like, this is now a sitcom, a 2 hour and 15-minute sitcom, and I love it. So she's still having dinner with these people.
Yeah, it's very weird. It's Tuesday night and it's a free meal and it's delicious. So why
and
not
she
take
does
it up?
argue, those almond cakes, she does argue with Hadas's father a little bit.
Yeah, she gets a little feisty. Like,
Yeah.
he's a good guy. Why wouldn't you? She stands up for Mandy. Like, you know, that you shouldn't. But it's a no. You know, he's got this pure, wonderful daughter and it should be. And then the father gets a look in his eye.
These people who are so desperate to unload their daughter, I just love it how it's just kind of like it's almost like she walked into some sort of trap and at one point looked around and was like, oh my God, wait, I'm here because of this? Because these people are now like, you're the one that should marry her daughter. What are you, like 12 or 13?
Yeah,
it's
perfect.
fine. She's like 20. Don't worry.
Don't worry. She'll make she's a good wife.
Yeah.
Whether you're for 12, 17, 35, it doesn't matter. So they get a little like winky in the eye, the family does. And then she goes back to Mandy. And she's kind of like reporting on dinner. Yeah, it's like kind of weird over there. Like they're just weird and I don't know. She looked pretty and the cakes were great, but
this movie, for just a moment, it turned into like every courtroom procedural I've ever seen, because he's like, wait a second. And he runs over and he's like going through books. He's like, I think if we there it is. I knew it. There's this one stipulation that's like, it's so weird.
Yeah, that if Yentl passes, is that how it goes? Like Yentl, then because they're pretty much brothers, they're not even real brothers, which Yentl argues like we're not even real brothers, but we pretty much are.
Yeah.
Because we're brothers, he can still have access to Hadas.
It's a whole thing where it's like, listen, you can marry her. It's totally cool. It's great. You'll get in with her family. Then you know what you do. You guys get a divorce and I'll just slide right in because it's totally fine. You want to fuck her, right? Great.
Yeah.
Sounds fantastic.
I mean, who wouldn't want to? She's a perfect woman.
Right,
so we'll just share
you
her.
even told me she's awesome.
You sang about it. We all heard, even though you thought
it's so
it was
weird. Like, it is such a weird plan that makes no sense at all, because his life is over except for the fact that this little boy that he just met could possibly marry this woman that he's madly in love with.
But then he could still have access to her. He could still see her. He could still have dinner at her house. He could still have her baked apples and her almond cakes.
And what's even weirder is when she's like, this is not a good idea, he goes, do you have feelings for me? And I was like, oh, this is so good.
She's opening up a can of worms.
She's like, of course I do. And he goes, if you love me, then marry my ex-fiance.
Yeah, then you'll do this for me. You'll make this inextricably awkward.
Yeah.
By now. Yeah.
And for some reason, she's like, twist my arm. All right, let's do it.
No, at first she says no. She says no at first. But then he goes.
No, of course. She says no at first.
Yeah, but then eventually it's just an easy like, oh, fine.
It's such a bizarre, like, you know what'll get this guy to fall in love with me is if I marry a woman for him. Mm-hmm. It is so strange, and I love it.
I think she sings about like, what the fuck have I gotten myself into? The twisted turns that, the web we weave when first we decide to deceive.
Now, here's what I found highly entertaining in this movie, and I didn't notice it for a little while, but then I thought about it and I actually had to go back. Amy Irving is the woman who plays Hadas, and she's got a pretty extensive career. There's a dinner scene right after this, and Amy Irving's first lines in this movie are where she goes, more noodles. Those are her first lines. She's been in this movie for like an hour already. She's had no lines of dialogue.
More noodles is appropriate. More noodles. I know you love them because you eat them all the time.
And she's like, I don't know, this woman's kind of boring and she's uninteresting. Unlike Mandy Patinkin, who yells at me all the time and argues with me about the Talmud.
She prefers that spicy because now all they're going to talk about is like the noodles and the way the food tastes and the simple things that and plucking a chicken.
Now I'm sorry, I feel like I'm just taking over. I shouldn't be.
Do it. I love this. I love how into this you are. So please.
After dinner, they go have tea. I love this scene so much because this scene is these women are lesbians and they're totally falling for each other. And Babs is like, I got to get the fuck out of here right now. It's so great.
They do though. She bakes a good apple. She doesn't burn her food. They're sitting. They're talking. Is she sewing in this one? No, she's sewing later when it's the three of them.
Yeah. Anytime Mandy Patinkin shows up, she either has to serve them or sew.
Right.
Like at least she gets to sit and they have tea and they laugh and they talk and it's like a nice normal conversation between two people who seem to have some sort of connection. And that's when Barbra Streisand's like, this is freaking me out. I gotta get out of here.
I can't.
I'm about to make out with this woman and I can't do that.
Because it's like Hadas just has this natural, lovely energy that she puts off. And
which we haven't seen in this movie. Like,
right. She hadn't been able to talk. Like you said, noodles is the first thing she says.
She just like spills sauce and stuff. Like that's all we've seen her do.
And she even mentions she's not shaking or spilling sauce with Yentl, but she tells us later it's because she feels an immense amount of comfort with Yentl.
Yes. Which this movie wants you to read as a bad thing, because if you are shaking and an insane crazy person, that means you love someone and should end up with them. If you're comfortable around them and can talk, that's
a clear sign for back away, right?
Oh, this is when she goes back after he's been so insistent that he marries, or that Barbra Streisand marries Hadas.
Yes.
This is when she goes back and Mandy Patinkin's like trying to. First, I thought he was trying to get on a train. No, it's just the back of a wagon being pulled by a horse.
Yeah. Take it slow. We're not there yet. Yeah, we're not at trains. Yeah, right. But he's gonna leave because he can't live in this village anymore with this. Having had this happen to him, and she begs him to stay, and finally she agrees. Nothing is impossible. I mean, I've already become a man, and I'm not a man, so fine. I'll just marry this woman.
If it means you'll stick around. He's leaving, because he's seemingly leaving like, well, I set these two up together. Maybe that was a huge mistake. And the reason he stays is she's like, all right, I'll marry her. Like, I don't understand what his thinking is here. Also, we find out without anybody saying as much. Apparently they had a wedding date and they're not moving it. Like, this woman is marrying somebody on this day.
Yeah.
Because she's being fitted for a suit for tomorrow's wedding.
It's got tomorrow night. That's one of the songs.
I love it.
She's got to get married. And this is funny too. The tailor's trying to measure her breasts and her crotch length, and she's oohing and hiding behind mirrors and not wanting to be naked in front of them.
I want a scene of her like grabbing a spool of thread and like shoving it down her pants and being like, yep, you can measure, I guess.
Go for it. See what you find.
And in a movie full of hats,
this is your favorite hat.
I could not believe this wedding hat. And I'm sure Babs did her research. I guarantee you this is a real thing. But this fuzzy hat is so silly looking.
It's adorable on her when it flops over her eyes and she looks at herself like, what the hell did I get myself into? But she did. She got herself into an actual Jewish wedding where she's, here it is.
This is when I wrote in my notes, what is her plan here? Because there's no plan. She's letting everyone else decide for her. She's letting everyone else map out what she's doing.
She's had little time to plan. Like you said, the wedding was apparently set and she's just got to follow through.
Yeah.
And
I do like where her plan takes her. Like, I like her solution to this. Because when they went up to the bedroom and her parents are walking with her like, hey, let's, you know what, you guys bang this out. This is going to be great.
Yeah,
I was like,
what about when Mandy Patinkin whispers in her ear, too? Like,
this is so...
you must pleasure her. Yeah. You have to pleasure her and make sure that she's satisfied by her pleasure. Yeah.
I made some
wait for her
earlier. Yeah. I should have shown them to you. I forgot.
It's really kind of creepy because,
it's super creepy. And how her dad's like, hey, you know how all this works?
Yeah.
else than I could.
Because Hadas doesn't. She's not done anything with anybody. So I hope you know what you're doing in there. Because 9 months from now, we want a little baby coming.
Because whatever happens, guess what? Hadas is going to think that's how it works.
Yeah, exactly.
So whatever you do tonight, you just have to keep doing that.
Yeah.
You can't change it up.
Did they teach you that?
Once you figure it out.
This is what she's going to expect. And like you said, she kind of comes up with this plan. So they get in this bedroom.
I love it. Listen, for as much as I really do like Mandy Patinkin as an actor and in this movie, I think he's very good. The scenes with she and Hadas are my favorite scenes in this whole movie. Yeah. Like the tea scene was great, and this is something where I laughed out loud through the scene.
It's so fun because it's so fun. So they have a little Manischewitz, a little wine. And she convinces Hadas that they can't really consummate the marriage tonight because Hadas's mind is clearly still on Mandy. And that wouldn't be okay to do. And it's okay because Yentl can be as patient as needed to be.
Sure.
And
but you know who can't be patient? Everyone outside the door listening to us right now.
Right. So we got to make it sound like we're having a wonderful time. And then they have like this really sweet little sleepover kind of.
It's so fun how they're messing up both beds at one point.
Yeah.
And even like Yentl's like, should we mess up both beds? And she's like, yeah, let's do it.
Just the one, yeah.
Right. Did you notice that at the end of that scene, the one bed is literally broken?
Yeah,
like,
they broke it. Yeah. Which I love because the parents must walk in there and be like, what did he get into? Like, they must think this little prepubescent boy is like, because, like you said, they're listening outside. And even the dad says something funny. I don't know what his line is, but the mom and dad are outside the room, like their eyes are wide. And he looks at the mom like, she's your daughter. Like, that was it. It was very funny. I thought that was great. But they break a bed. They spill some wine on the bed to make it look like there's been some dirty times have been had. And Hadas is probably drunk for the first time in her life. And she's like, I'm going to love being married to you. This is going to be it. Just like a big old slumber party of feelings and good times.
This seems like a great relationship. Yeah. This is 100% like... Because she's totally into it. She's having a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And Barbra Streisand's like, hey, let's get fucked up and like trash this room. Like, let's do it. It's so awesome. You know what's not awesome is the next day when Mandy Patinkin's like, give me all the details.
Yes, I know. Again, creepy Patinkin. Creepy. Oh, I wrote down, she calls her a silly goose at one point, Yentl, when they're having their pillow fight. Yentl's like, you silly goose. So fun.
Mandy Patinkin is hilarious because he's like, give me the details. Yeah. What'd you guys do? Tell me all about it. And her response is like, yeah, the sex, we had that. We had the sex.
Yeah.
The end. Done.
But she does tell him, I think, again, to keep him like kind of hanging on.
Right.
She talks in her sleep and she talked about you the whole time, which we know isn't true. They had a fun little fine night, but this is when we get to see more of their relationship. You must have loved this too.
We just see a relationship between two women.
Yeah.
And I was like, 1904. Okay, let's do it.
It's funny because Hadas is like, so I can, when I'm ready, or she's basically, because her objective as a woman is to have sex with her man and feed her man and take care of him.
Yeah.
And Yentl is still like, no, we really don't have to do those things. What we could do is we could talk, we can hang out, and you know what? I will teach you. Let's close these curtains.
Yeah.
And you want to learn about the Bible? You want to learn about what I'm learning about? Let's do that.
And I like how it then cuts, because she's like, I'll teach you the Talmud. It's great. It then cuts to Hadas, who is exhausted.
Oh, yeah. Well, she's been up since 4, plucking chickens.
Yeah. And Hadas is like, listen, you've been teaching me. It's late on a Friday. I'm like, has she been teaching her like all week nonstop? Like,
yeah, she does say like it's Friday and it is, I am just tired. And it is, well, and we see how passionate Yentl gets when she gets to talk about the things that she loves learning about. And more than that, teach about the things that she loves learning. She really gets jazzed up, which at first is what Hadas kind of falls for. This is an adorable thing to watch this person get so passionate about something. But it is also exhausting because TJIF, man.
I don't think it's ever that Hadas isn't into this. I think Hadas is okay with it.
She's just tired.
Like, oh, like you can teach me? Like that's totally not allowed and I enjoy it. But it really is, and I think it is later in this movie where she's like, hey, guess what, Yentl? I've been studying, and you didn't tell me that I could force you as the man
Yeah,
to have sex, right? Like, you told me that you could force sex upon me, but you didn't tell me the other thing's true, so let's get down to it.
She's like, I looked in the index under sex to find out who and how and what it works, and I did my due diligence research. Yeah.
You wouldn't think these giant handwritten books had an index that's alphabetized? They do. Your mistake for teaching me how to read.
Yentl decides to have a dinner. This is the dinner with the three of them, right? Where she's gonna
It's
have.
like, hey, you remember my ex, who's your BFF?
Yeah.
Let's have this dude over.
Let's do it. Let's do a threesome dinner together and see what goes down. And again, I think it's part of it is so that Yentl could because it's clear that Hadas is she's starting to like Yentl, and it's almost like Yentl wants to remind her, remember how hot you are for my friend Mandy here? Like, let's think about that and not so much about jumping my bones.
But it is funny because Hadas is like, yeah, that dude.
Yeah.
P.S. You're teaching me. We've made a connection here. I don't care about that hairy monster anymore. I want you hairless little boy.
You're this little boy with your pure white skin. And they clearly talk. Like, that's something that's missing from, her relationship with Mandy, is that they don't, he just sees her as a woman, But yeah, they have a connection, Hadas and Yentl, and we see that. And now Mandy sees that too at this dinner. Like, she's looking at you. And they go to the parlor to have tea. This is where she's sewing in the parlor.
And humming? And she's humming? Because at first I was like, ooh, another Barbra Streisand song. And then the humming stops, and they look at us like, you can keep going. That's pretty great.
We're enjoying your
she's
hum
been
along.
humming this whole time.
Because that's what she's...
And there's another song about how Mandy looks at Hadas in a way that he'll never look at her.
Yes.
And I was like, how long have they been married at this point? I have no idea how much time has passed. Is this just like
a
the
couple
following
of weeks.
Tuesday dinner?
Yeah, I think it's if it's a week, it's a lot.
Oh, there's a line in this song that is, his eyes follow her like slaves. I was like, that sounds terrible. That sounds horrible, Babs. Maybe don't put that line in your song.
Look at me that way. That's that song, right? Will he ever look at me that? This is when then she's ready, Hadas is ready to make love. And is like, I read it, I did my research, and
they almost kiss, but
Yeah.
it is the early 80s, and it's not,
I don't even think they go lip to
lesbian
lip.
Olympic movie we watched?
What's that? What's her name?
Anyway, it's not that movie, so they don't kiss. Plus, it's PG.
But this is when Yentl
Personal
realizes,
best.
personal best. There you go. This is when Yentl realizes, she sings a song like, I don't want to live in the shadows anymore. I don't want to be this hiding person. I need to be myself.
Is this when Babs puts her to bed and goes for a walk, where she talks her out of sex? It's like, let's just tuck you in here tight. I gotta go for a walk.
Yes. And this is when in her walk she realizes, this is all too much, and I still am a woman, and I want to be that
I think
woman.
I was taking her this long to realize this is too much. Not at the wedding.
No.
No, not the wedding night. She's like, well, now it's too much. Now that I taught this woman something, she knows things.
Yeah.
And now I got to get out, because she totally runs out on her. And I know that's what she has to do, I guess. I don't know.
You feel bad. You feel bad.
I'm so conflicted by the end of this movie.
Because now you see Hadas is finally happy and kind of treated with a lot more respect than she probably will be treated if she marries Mandy, or when she marries Mandy.
Yep.
Honored a little more and all that. And you're kind of sad for Hadas.
Yeah.
Like you said, the woman had no lines in the beginning, and now she's got lines, and she's got love. And I even think that if Babs unwrapped herself and was like, listen, I'm a lady, I think Hadas would be like, that's all right. I guess I'm a lesbian, and I'm fine with it.
Right.
And
she'd be like, that makes so much sense now.
Mm-hmm.
But she and Mandy have to go somewhere. I don't know where they're going.
Well, it's
they're going to reveal secrets, let's say.
They finally get into a town where they have separate beds, and she's led on that she has this secret to tell from the start of their journey. She's like, I can't tell you yet. So when they're finally, he's like, all right, what's this secret? And she starts to slowly undress and tell him, like, what would you do if you wanted to still learn? Would you find any way possible to still learn? And he's like, yeah, of course I would. I love learning. And if it was a band against, she says, what if men with brown eyes and beards couldn't learn? Would you still try it? And he says,
I love how
yes.
he's like, what are you talking about? It's not like I'm a woman. There's no ban on me. It's really funny.
Yeah.
And I love how she has to take her top off, because that's like the universal, it's like just one of the guys, or Ishtar, where it's like, well, how do I prove to someone I'm a woman? And I guess that's the only way to do it.
And she apologizes afterwards. She's like, I only did that so that you could really see that they're real and that this is who I really am. And he is pissed at first. He's so mad. But I think because all these emotions are just up inside of him about all the things.
It's a whole thing. Like I said, like he's like, no wonder I touched you a lot. Thank God I'm not gay. It's a whole thing.
Yes.
And he basically like forces her to admit that she loves him, because it's a whole lot of like, why would you do this? Why would you? Please tell me why you did this. Why did you do this? Like, he knows why, but he almost like makes her say
hear
it.
Yeah. But then it's nice because in the end, she does break down and say, I love you, and that's why.
Right,
and now you think he's going to, like, pummel her. You think he's going to, like, you're nervous about where this anger is going to go, this rage. But he just holds her and hugs her, and he's like, I think I loved you, too. And
there is a funny part where they almost kiss, and then he kind of, like, looks over like, uh-oh, Hadas.
Yeah.
Think about that. Oh, well, no biggie. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Yeah.
We'll just write her a letter.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
And just explain, because now he's on board. He's like, all right, new plan. We'll get married. We'll go somewhere where no one knows us, and we'll start a new life, and you could be my woman slave. And that's when...
Exactly. And that's when she's like, whoa, hold on, buckaroo. Like, I am not going back to these traditional roles.
Right. I want out of this. I love you, but I don't love that lifestyle.
This was a part in the movie where I was 100% expecting her to be like, you know what? Hadas and I will figure this out. She's cooler than you, dude. Like, I could admit this to her, and she'd be totally on board.
Right. She would be fine with it. We would adopt a little boy from another village. It would be great.
I'll bet I could buy a baby. It's 1904. You can buy babies all over the place.
Hadas's parents are wealthy. We could totally buy a baby.
Yes. Sell some of those gravy boats we drink out of and buy 5 kids. Whatever. It's fine. You're horrible, man. Because he really is. And which then made me like kind of sad for Hadas at the end of this. Because
she's going to end up with him.
Yes,
You're like, well, I think she got the short end of the stick, really.
She's leaving. She decides to leave. And these two, I guess, work out this plan for her to leave a note for the rabbis and Hadas to dissolve this fake marriage or something. And like we said earlier, like these parents were so pissed that his brother committed suicide, they're going to be fine with her marrying a woman.
Yeah, they're like, well, but now that's what makes him Mandy look even better, because he's like, well, at least you're not a woman, so bring it on. So she writes a letter that's supposed to clear up all the misunderstandings and make everything okay.
Yeah, and we really do watch the rest of this movie through a note. Like the rest of this movie is just like, oh, Babs wrote us a note. She's happy. We're happy. She's on a boat to ? And it's the end.
Well, no, there's a beautiful song. The song she sings in the end is beautiful. What's wrong with wanting more? If you can fly, then soar.
All right. Okay.
With all there is, why settle for just a piece of... I'm going to do it. Sky.
We're good. We're good. We heard enough. We're fine.
You see?
We'll call you.
We think we've had some background work you'll fit right into. It's fine.
Yeah, and that is the end of this movie.
Yeah, it's an epic, beautiful closing. She's singing "Into the Sky," "Papa, watch me fly." She sings, and she still has her short Yentl hair, but she looks much more feminine, wrapped up in a scarf and a
Well, she took her glasses
hat.
off. You know,
Yes.
that'll do it every time.
There you go. Wait, I'm a female. Now I'm more boyish. Now I'm more female. And then
I assume they wouldn't let women wear glasses at this time.
What do they need to see
you can't
for?
see? What do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like you're reading.
What's the biggie? No,
You're studying.
You don't need to see the words, right?
Oh my god, I really did enjoy this in
I'm
a way
so
that,
glad.
and I said it's just because we watched Dune. I don't think it's just because we watched Dune. I'm sure that enhanced my experience.
Sure. It was sandwiched in between. Yeah.
There was one point where Yentl and Mandy Patinkin are in their little apartment or something, and she's singing and she's looking out the window, and it's like raining outside. And there was something about that where I'm like, yeah, this movie is like, it's raining outside on like a Sunday afternoon. That's what this movie's made for. Like, that's it. You want to watch it on TV and block out 3.5 hours of your day? Fine. The
time goes fast though. I don't know how, but the time, I mean, I knew this movie and I knew what was like, but yeah, like the 2 hours sort of breezes by with a little bit of song and a little bit of funny and some.
I was shocked. I am
shocked how much I'm pleasantly surprised at your enthusiastic reaction. I'm pleased as punch.
Couldn't believe it. Can't believe I enjoyed it.
Love that you did. I love that you did. All of our. I wonder what our listeners think. I hope that if they've experienced Yentl, they feel the same as we both did. And I hope if they didn't ever experience Yentl, this maybe makes them try it out.
It's very easy. It's like an easy movie. I can't imagine that anyone who sees this, unless they really hate Barbra Streisand. I know there are people out there that do.
Oh yeah.
I can't see anybody really hating it. Like, I could see everybody being like, that was fine, or that was really great, or that was better than expected. I really can't see anybody being like, that was atrocious.
All right, so it's a recommend.
Yeah, it's so charming.
I love it.
Enough.
Yes. It's wonderful.
Oh, do you have a recommendation? Because mine's super lame.
Oh, it's probably not as lame as you think. Yeah, we recently watched that show that's all hot now. People are talking about that Queen's Gambit.
The chess.
Yes, it is really good. It's excellent. So what is your recommendation?
Well, my recommendation is kind of a shameless plug and also possibly racist. So,
okay. Excellent.
Some people may know that my wife and I do another podcast.
Ooh, yes.
And it's a Schitt's Creek podcast, and I'm bringing this up because, of course, Dan and Eugene Levy are Jewish. It's terrible. But I have to say, we did stop the podcast for quite a while.
Oh.
COVID, while COVID is a horrible thing, COVID was really great for us, meaning that we could work from home and teach from home and had a lot of time to record episodes of the podcast. But it has not been happening since late August.
Oh.
But we are back up and ready to start going with it again.
Excellent.
In January. So starting 2021, if you've been waiting for new episodes of Shits and Giggles,
Shits and Giggles, I knew it was a clever name. Yes. So clever.
So if you didn't know we had that podcast, go find it, check it out. If you like the show, if you don't like the show, don't listen to the podcast.
No, try it out because it's I would say listen, and everyone loves that show Schitt's Creek. I have to admit, I have not yet seen it, which is an embarrassing thing.
Hey,
that's why.
It's done. It's over. That's when to watch shows. When they're done and you can just watch the whole thing.
You can just go through it all. That's what I'm going to have to dive in. Maybe over the holiday break I will. But Shits and Giggles. Let's do it.
Shits and Giggles. Check it out. And this is totally my fault because after I watched it, I went, I'll come up with a recommendation later. And I watched this movie back on Tuesday.
I remember,
still had not thought of anything. So, sorry.
That's okay.
Well, everybody, thank you so much for listening and just sharing my discovery of this movie with me. I can't believe I like this so much.
I love it.
I'm almost mad at myself for liking it as much as I did.
You shouldn't be. I'm going to get you the soundtrack for your Christmas. And send it to
Okay,
you.
first
You're
of
gonna be
all,
singing along.
I know that you're joking, but if that has the songs about Hadas on it,
Of course it does.
I want that
About the
soundtrack.
roast. Yeah.
Yes.
A
About
chicken
the
or
roast.
pot
Yep.
roast.
If I were a dude, I'd be into her too. Yeah, I want to listen to that.
Yeah, you
So,
do.
in 2 weeks, we are still in the holiday season.
Cheer, cheer.
In 2 weeks, we actually have 2 episodes coming out for patrons. If you were very upset that we just hated Dune or that we made you watch Dune or something, there's a lot of reasons to be upset by that episode. We have something a little bit lighter where we're going to talk about the California Raisins Christmas special.
It's a great animated Christmas special, or not animated,
Yeah, I think it's like,
claymated.
I even think it's called like a claymation Christmas or something.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Because I think the California Raisins are only in one.
Well, yeah, they do all
It's
the
like
great
5
characters
stories or
too.
something?
That Clay, I think Andrew Dice Clay is in it. Like they have
Wait,
all the
what?
Ronald
Okay.
Reagan is in it. Like I think if I'm remembering
Okay,
correctly,
Wait, hold on. Okay.
because
First
they
of
do
all,
the claymated
if
Ronald
actually
Reagan.
Ronald Reagan lent his voice to this,
I don't know if it's a.
It's like, well, I am president, but you need me to come into the booth for a little bit? Sure, no problem.
I got the time. I got the time.
I get to hang out with Dice? All right.
I'm in.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, anyway, that is going to be our Christmas Eve bonus episode, but our regular episode comes out the very next day on Christmas Day.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be talking about Santa Claus, the movie.
Not Santa Claus's colon, mind you.
No, don't. We don't want to talk about that.
No.
No, it's got John Lithgow is in it.
Mm-hmm.
And who's the guy who was Ed Grimley? I can't think of it. Martin Short.
Martin Short
is in it.
Uh-huh.
I remember watching it as a kid, and just like Dune and just like Yentl, I remember it seeming very long. Like a long movie about Santa Claus and corporate espionage and just nonsense that no kid should want to watch or have to watch.
Well, what about that other Christmas one we watched? Oh, one of my favorites about the angel, about with Mary Stuart Masterson.
Okay, hold on. Listen. I tell people to go to Patreon, and I tell you that we have stuff there. I will tell you that your best bet is to give us $5 just to go on for a month. Like, just give us $5 for 1 month.
Just for the 1 month,
2
yeah.
months.
And then cancel, yeah.
Please go check that episode out. That movie is hilarious and dark in a way that a Disney Christmas movie should not be, because I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, Harry Dean Stanton as an angel murders a woman's entire family to show her that Christmas
the
is
real meaning
okay.
of Christmas. The real meaning of Christmas.
And now that dad was obsessed with building a bike for some other girl in the neighborhood. Not his own kids. He didn't give a shit about his own kids. He's like, Mary McGonagall needs her bike, and I. And all she wanted to do was like take a shower and just relax at one point. In that movie.
She just wanted to not have a shift at the grocery store. No.
Holy shit! That movie, that episode was so much fun.
Was it Christmas Angel? What was it called?
Christmas Miracle, I think.
Miracle. There you go. Christmas Miracle.
Holy
But
shit.
that's that Santa Claus the movie. We'll see. We'll see. It might go down in history as well. Oh,
Harry Dean Stanton, a man who looks like the devil himself, playing an
perched
angel.
up in a tree. Perched up in a tree like a little angel. Just keep
perched in a tree. Yeah. Harassing some housewife in the middle of the night, and she's not freaked out at all by this.
No. She's like, you.
Oh my God. Oh, the Christmas time is upon us.
It is.
Santa Claus the movie, California Raisins, claymation, whatever nonsense bullshit. I actually promised people today on Twitter that next year we would do Pac-Man Christmas for our Christmas
sounds
cartoon episodes.
Okay, great. I love it.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening, and we will talk to you again in 2 weeks. Until then, have a great 2 weeks.
Happy Chanukah.
Take off your clothes. I'll hold you. Take your clothes off.
I wanted so much. I was so waiting for the time where Barbra Streisand was like, "Oh yeah, I'm a man," and she doesn't disguise her voice, and that was my biggest concern with everything in this movie. Like every time she met somebody, I'm like, "Well, they're gonna know she's a woman." Oh nope.